If one of your main goals in 2020 is to get a ton of PR attention around the stuff that you're doing in your business, I have some news for you. Things have changed, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, before we get into this, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't been here before, right down there, and hit the little bell so you get notified every time that I post a new video. Okay, so let's get into this. How has PR changed? So much. There was this guy back in the day. His name was Ivy Lee. Some people say that he is the father, or was the father, of public relations. So back in the early 20th century, he was a journalist, a reformed journalist who helped out on a couple of situations. Don't want to get into the details, but he helped out in a couple of situations where companies were in deep shit and they needed to get out of it. And in order to do that, Ivy Lee came along and basically invented the press release and invented the idea that there would be a liaison to actually help companies get the public back on the company's side. So obviously he used the power of the media to do this. He was a former journalist, so he said, okay, I'm just gonna go to these newspapers that I know and I have connections with, and I'm going to help diffuse the situation by getting the message out. So there was a Rockefeller strike with his workers in the mines, and he took Rockefeller directly to the mines, and the media became aware, and there was also a gigantic train crash back in the day, and at that time he decided to take the initiative to bring the media to the train crash site so they could see it firsthand and there wouldn't be conjecture going on about what actually happened. And so that's how public relations started. And I think the really interesting thing here is that public relations hasn't changed in its implementation for 100 years. And it's time that we really started thinking differently about this. Because here's the truth, you do not need the media anymore to get your message out. So it's created this triangle of tension with three major players. You have the company on one point of the triangle, you have the people on the other side of the triangle, and on the third end of the triangle, you have the media. And they're constantly pulling and tugging at each other for attention. But here's the thing, they all have different agendas, and it's incredibly difficult to bridge that gap. So you have people and the company here, and then the media. Before, if you wanted to actually get your message out, you had to go through the media to get to people, because there was no other way to actually make people understand what your message was about. In PR, we call this controlling the narrative, controlling the story that is being told about public sentiment. But now it's different. It's completely different now. Now, instead of having to go through the media to get to people, you can go directly to people with content. So content-based PR is the future of PR. So when you're looking to invest your marketing and PR budget this year, you have to start thinking more about how are you going to create content to get the attention and affinity that you want, rather than putting all of your eggs in the media basket. Because here's the other truth about it. When you go to the media, and listen, I used to be in the media. I love it just as much as anything else. I used to be a journalist. I ran big video teams. That was all great. Here's the thing, I can tell you firsthand, we look skeptically at every single pitch that comes our way as journalists. We have an agenda to help people. The company wants to reach people, media wants to reach people. But we have different agendas about how to get there. So there's a filter. So every time that a company tries to go to the media and get a message out that the company wants out, the media is going to filter that, and it's going to go through their brand voice, telling a story. So there's a certain amount of authority that can be lent there, and the authority is the real winner here. But the long-term PR play, and sometimes the short-term PR play as well, is to create your own content, because then you don't have to deal with the filter of the media. It's not what they're saying, it's what you get a chance to do and say about your own company to the public. You get to relay your message in exactly the way that you want to relay that message without it going through this other entity that has its own agenda, let's be honest. Now, that isn't to say that it's worthless to go through the media now. There is that authority building. But I highly recommend going 70% of your PR efforts towards content creation, which builds community and mass affinity. And the major goals of public relations are mass awareness in your niche and mass affinity. So you create content content, you create community, you build relationships. Those relationships last, they turn into customers, and they turn into your best testimonials. They turn into your super fans, the people that love you. Your best PR agents are going to be your super fans, not the people that are out there getting 0.5% response rates on bad pitches to journalists who are just going to filter that content anyways. You have to really think about where you're going to be putting your money here. Would you like to build these communities yourself and let people slowly fall in love with you? Or go through the media for a couple of quick fixes that may or may not happen, and the story may or may not be told the way that you want it to be told. This stuff has a tendency to not even move the needle a lot of times because these publications have other goals, and the people that are reading these publications have their own goals. They're not necessarily customers, they're the audience of the media brand. And this is how PR has changed. It's changed fundamentally. We need to start putting 70% of our efforts on our own content creation so we can get our narrative out there and manage it and build our own league of superfans. I hope you got value from this video. I hope you're gonna change your PR strategy in 2020. It is time to do it. Subscribe to this channel, hit that little bell, and we'll see you in the next video.